everybody. Hi. How's it going? What do we got going on? Who is it? Who's here? Okay. So there is Mandy. Hello. And Atlanta. Hello. And Plancha. That's Planchito. And View is here. Hello. And Nessa, all the way from Barbados. And Ilex is here. Hello. Dawn. Hello. Welcome, everybody. Pardon me. My allergies are kicking my butt. So I'm sniffly bad. Gail is here. Hey, Gail. McCluck. Oh, McCluck, you dafty. What? I don't know what. I actually have a plan for things to do today. Yes, I like sniffly. Not, and it's actually, I'm not super sniffly. It's just all of a sudden I'm sniffly, and then it's like that sound that like I have to just do a big sniffle and then blow my nose, and that sucks. Or sometimes it just kind of like gathers, and then I have to like clear my whole body of phlegm. It's disgusting. Anywho, yeah, who's Gail? Gail is who you are when I haven't finished my first cup of coffee yet. Hey, Anne. Let's see. Nessa, did you know dust flies over all the way from Africa to Barbados? So it's overcast with dust. Yeah, that's weird. You were saying that yesterday when we were chatting, and I had to look at a map. I'm like, I thought Barbados was I didn't know that Barbados was so close to Africa, but it doesn't, looking at the map, I don't feel like Barbados is that close to Africa, but whatever. Emma, hello, how are you? Lurking, washing up, doing dinner, but listening. Cool. Nessa sneezy too from the dust, and McClock says, I need a good sneeze and a gallon of coffee. I at least need the gallon of coffee, that's for sure. So anyway, today, this all actually, so I was going to make it a video, and then, you know, I set up all the things, and I turned on the computer, blah, 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 blah. And then, I proceeded to do a whole bunch of stuff and never actually hit record. So I kept looking up at the computer screen to make sure that, you know, I'm still on camera and in frame and everything. And then I went to finish it up, and I'm like, oh, I didn't actually record it. So, you know, okay, that's fine. That's what happens to me. So, Lisa, winging it with color, had purchased herself a pack of the Koh-i-noor Tri-Tone pencils. As y'all know, I love me some rainbow pencils. And but she did a little video on them, and she was saying that, you know, there's kind of a learning curve, and she's not really quite sure how they work best, and so on and so forth. So so I thought I would do a thing for her. So I did some practices. This is the palette of the Tri-Tones. I know that my camera's not great, but some of them have a very subtle variation in colors, you know, blush and summer sky and that. And then some of them have, you know, quite a big variation in the colorways. So Spanish Night and Evening Storm and Amber and stuff. So, and then I also have the Derwent Light Fasts that I'm kind of working with as an accessory. And then where'd the other one go? Oh, and then my really cheap rainbow pencils that we've talked about before. And these ones, so these ones are kind of waxy and soft, whereas these are a little harder. They're still pretty, um, pretty smooth and lovely, but I believe that these are oil based, and with these, I have no idea. So I did some tests, I did some sketching and some screwing around, and I actually started coloring a page. Let's see. Alex says that the dust is actually really crucial in stopping terrible hurricanes. Well, that's good then. Nessa, so it isn't as warm as usual, but it's a very damp, humid. Ugh, I hate that. That's the kind of humid I get here. And no, it isn't close. It flies so far. Lant, I was out for a walk yesterday in open space. Dust came my way and I started coughing. I have 2 inhalers, 1 steroid, 1 emergency. Coughing now. Lovely. At least you now have some inhalers for those. Going into a heat advisory. Ugh. Can the Tri-Tones move with water or no? Some that aren't labeled watercolors still move. Not with water, but I did make an interesting discovery that I'll show you guys. I just had a chest x-ray yesterday. Came back clear, going in for allergy testing Thursday morning. Good, Atlanta. Okay, all right, Nessa had to head out, so hopefully she comes back to this to get her question answered. The clock. I may need to get my cheap rainbow pencils out, just watching my new 4 candies. They were only 20 pounds and 89 pence. So cheap, and they're really pigmented. Cool. Congratulations on your new set of pencils. Okay, so first I will show you just the stuff that I did. I started just kind of like mark making. I'm going to zoom, but I'm going to have to move the paper around, I think. So let's see, this one is with, heck, I don't remember. Anyways, so I did mark making, it does this thing when you go side to side with the point, and it does this thing when you go side to side really lightly. You can lay it, get it sharpened so that it's kind of long and go flat on the page, so it's more dusky, etc. I made a little flower and a cloud, and I really wish that I had better stuff. Different ways you do scumbling and hatching and cross hatching, and just the different ways you can do fills and texturing. I made an ugly tree, in a ground, just to kind of see what I could do there. And then I turned it over. I made planets and grass, and then I kind of did a little bit of testing here. I'm going to have to just pull back out, sorry, because y'all can't see anything. So I did a test with water solubility and so on and so forth. And hold on here, what do we got? Let's see. What happens when you use a blender pencil with those? Is it the same as when you use them with the Koh-i-noor? Kinda, yeah. So, this more reddish, brownish area here is the Koh-i-noors. The more bluey ones are the cheap, the waxy ones. Okay, and so they are not water soluble, really. They are pretty erasable. I'm so bad at this showing of things. Hang on. Okay. So they're not water soluble. They're pretty erasable. The alcohol marker thing, I didn't like that, so I tried again. And what's interesting is that I really should do this with a different camera. Um, they do blend out with alcohol marker. They blend with Tombow marker. That was interesting to me because I thought that a Tombow marker was a water soluble, was like a water marker. And I didn't realize that it would push around pencils that aren't necessarily water soluble. It blended out obviously with OMS and with pencil, the Holbein melts. You can do kind of a glowy situation when you just use a torchon. And then I took out different blender pencils. Okay, so I have, so here on the cheap side, this is the Caran d'Ache the full bright blender, and this is the regular Caran d'Ache blender. This was the Koh-i-Noor blender, Lyra Splendor blender, Marco Prisma, and then the Blick Studio. These two are the hardest. I tried to go from softest to hardest. And then this was on the Koh-i-Noors. So they do blend out. The blending with your pencil blenders is going to be really dependent on which pencil blender you're using. Also the makeup of your paper as well. This is a really smooth paper. And so I did these sort of little tests on smooth paper and on a toothy paper. So let's do this one. Let's do it like this. Okay, so I'm gonna come back out. And that. Okay, and so always on the left is going to be the waxy pencil, and always on the right is going to be the Koh-i-Noors, the Tri-Tones. So on top of gouache is, I don't know if the light is good enough here. Hang on. Does that help or hinder? Okay, well we'll just do our absolute best here. Okay, so on the toothier paper, so I've got a darker color gouache, a lighter color gouache. You know, they layer over, the waxy ones layer over pretty well. The Koh-i-Noor does a good job. You know, I wanted to try to kind of use them the way I would use them in coloring, which is I'm likely to put down a base of some kind and then put a pencil on top of it. So this is how we did with watercolors on the toothy paper. This is the weird Japanese watercolors that aren't Karatake Gonzai, but I guess they're kind of the same. So I have the waxy pencils on top and the Koh-i-Noors here. And the only reason I've got two here is because I don't really have much experience with this paint, so I kind of wanted to see if there was any difference if I like had kind of a flat base versus a more washed out, you know, I don't want to say granular, but you know, a sort of washier base. On top of acrylic marker. The waxy pencils aren't fantastic on top of acrylic marker, at least not the light ones. The Koh-i-Noors do pretty well. On top of activated gel crayons, everything looks great. And on top of activated Neo 2s, doesn't do a great job on dark colors. So even though these ones are waxier, I still feel like there must be some sort of significant portion of oil, because they're transparent enough that they don't really show up well on these darker colors. And on the smooth paper, it's roughly this. Now, none of this is blended. This is just strokes. And it's pretty much the same, except somehow you get kind of a better application of the waxy pencils on top of acrylic marker with a smoother paper, but still nothing interesting happens really at all on the dark Neo 2s. And then I kept on going. So this is on top of alcohol marker, and they both look pretty good. This is dark, so you're not going to really see it, but it looks fantastic. On top of ink tints, activated ink tints, it works out. On top of activated Albrecht Dürer, it works out. I did some just your standard highlighter, and I did just orange on these sides and orange laid with pink on this side. So, I mean, I don't know if it turned out any different, but so you can use highlighters as your base if you need to. On top of Neo 1s, it's pretty much don't bother. You're not gonna, I mean, you can lay them on top, but you're really not gonna get any kind of a blend that way. Well, I don't know. You may have to blend them, but you're not going to get it just from the materials. I did it on top of oil pastel, and that came out really good. But I did, really blend out the oil pastel so that there wouldn't be any chunky bits. And then I used tempera sticks as well, and those came out okay. But on the darks, the lights don't really show up, the darks don't show up well. So again, it's the same kind of situation as with Neo, the activated Neo 2s, is that they're just too transparent to really show up on the darks for that stuff. Because Neo 2 and like an oil pastels, Neo 1s, tempera sticks, these things stay like on top of the paper. Whereas everything else kind of soaks in a way. And so you don't, it's not like you're laying a thing on top of a thing. You're putting, you're laying it on top of like a stain, essentially. So, and then on the smooth, with these materials, pretty much the same situation. So I guess we just think of like your thick materials. There's a rule in painting and pardon me, which is fat over lean, right? So you can put pretty much anything on top of watercolor, but you can't really put watercolor on top of things. You can put oil on top of acrylic, but you can't really put acrylic on top of oil. I mean, you can, but it'll crack. So, so fat over lean is generally the rule of thumb in art, and that's kind of how it goes with doing these mixed media things. Is that if your first layer of material is lean, then fatter stuff should go on top of it just fine. But if your base layer is fat, then lean stuff or stuff of equal fatness, equal or lesser fatness, it won't really work very well. So that's what I found out there. And those tests were mostly just for me, just to see kind of what they go with, because I play with my rainbow pencils and my Tri-Tones a lot, but I don't really pay attention to, like, I don't make plans, you know. So those were my tests. And I think I did some more. These are blending tests, I think. These were the waxy. No, these are the waxy. These are the Koh-i-Noors. So this was when the, you know, laying it down, you know, flat like so, versus coloring it like this. And so now I can't remember what's going on here. I think I did just different ways to blend. I did some shading and blending. You know, so there's like scumbly blending, you know, where you're going like in circles, and then there's going in the direction of the strokes and then going in the opposite direction of the strokes. I never did get around to doing it on this paper, so we can give it a try on this paper too. But then I started to I was like, well, again, reminder, I'm doing this for Lisa, and I know that she likes to color Erie. That's her favorite. So I need to say hi to people here real quick. Let's see. Okay, nice AC, good. Oh, you like my tests, Atlanta? Okay, cool. They look really good. Thank you, McClock. Thank you, Mandy. Hey, Ashar. Let's see. Thank you, Sharp. Please don't forget thumbs up. Alex, I'm kind of drifting in and out of sleep. Coloring stuff is good to fall asleep to. And as I understand it, so is my voice. So enjoy the dulcet lullaby tones of my voice. And Dottie's here. Hello, my love. What's the haps, gamers? Dawn, I'm live now. Bye. Okay, bye. Hey, Jeanette. What else we got? Jeanette is not so hot today, about 28 with a breeze. Good to know. I'm glad you get a little bit of a relief. Hey, Mimi. Hey, Jane. Hey, all caps, Jane. Hi, Janet. Welcome in. So, okay. So again, this was supposed to be for Lisa. So, I started to work in this Erie book because I wanted to show her how she could use the pencils in the things that she works with. So, I'm gonna go back to this closer view, and I took one pencil, this Earth Tones, the Koh-i-noor Earth Tones pen. Okay, you can't see it. Koh-i-noor Earth Tones pencil. And I colored the paint palette. This is I don't know how to spell it. It's Laura Mia, or Laura Mia, or Laura Mia, like the magical land of, or magical, I don't know. I assume this is Laura. I assume this is Laura Mia. Anywho, so I colored the palette with one pencil. Okay, and so I have wood, right? It's wood, and it has tones and variations, and it looks like wood. So, you know, and then I started to blend it down here with the Caran d'Ache full blender, so we can work on some blending in there with different things and see how it looks. Then I used some of the more subtle color pencils to make like these little unicorn hairs and these mermaid scales. Um, and the lids of the ink bottles, I used that plus a flat black. So my paint blob, thank you. I think it looks like an egg. I need to get some other paint blobs on there. That is just acrylic brush marker though. I did this pencil, the eraser. Yeah, the whole thing is the tritone pencils. But I took a little bit of an eraser here to make the highlight, and then this is just a black, and that's just a black. But the wood of the pencils is one tritone pencil. This is two of the subtle blends of tritone pencils, the brighter yellow and a darker yellow. You know, the corks in the bottles were a really light application of one of the tritone pencils. So this is the light application in like just coloring it like I would normally color it. This, when I did the palette, I went straight across. You know, I took this pencil and I started here, you know, and I just went across and I made different, you know, but I got it all filled in. Like so. So this is the eerie page that I started. Let me back out. Yeah. So this is the eerie page that I started with working on with mostly the Koh-i-noors. I don't think I used any of the waxy rainbow pencils in here because I'm pretty sure that that Lisa doesn't have any waxy pencils. So I just wanted to do this page with stuff that I was pretty sure that she has. So so I can go ahead and we can do some blending, more blending on the palette using different blenders. This is so interesting. This Tombow water, or you know, it's Tombow water based. I use it for Inktenses and Albrecht Dürers and even Neos sometimes, but I just sort of did it on a whim, and it absolutely works on pencil. At least it does on these pencils. It's so strange. Yeah. So weird. I'm going to try to, let's see if I can, okay, this part here is really quite light. It has white showing through. And there it is. It's all blended together now. Isn't that strange? Who knew that Tombow pencils would move wax and oil pencils? Or Tombow blender markers. Let's see what we got. Janet Horton. It's Janet. I made my last name capital and everyone still calls me Jane. It's Janet. Working and lurking, Jane. That's cool. Lisa, you're here. Yay. You missed the whole part where I did a bunch of tests. I won't go over them again, but I did so many tests. Okay? So many tests. So you'll have to look at the beginning when this is over. Yeah. So what else do we have for blender? Let's do an alcohol blender. Let's see. I love what we got. I use the colored ones to activate pens. Yeah, to activate pens. Lisa, love the wooden palette. Looks so real. Or View said looks so real. Yes. And I've used alcohol markers, Jane, over pencil work a billion times. I mean, I don't know how many alcohol blender markers that I just pulled out and they're in a drawer for blending. But, so alcohol markers I knew would work. I was not aware that the Tombow ones would. So just gonna do that and that and this. So, and you can tell that it works because I've made a mess and put some blobs on the little paint spot there. Let's see. Pencils. So you have used, View, you've used the colored Tombows to activate pencils. That's interesting. You use red watercolor markers to say activate a red or orange Inktense or watercolor pencil. Oh, yeah. Yes, that's an excellent trick because then you get a little bit more vibrance out of it. That's, yeah, awesome. Yeah, what surprised me was that the Tombow blender worked, on top of pencils that aren't meant to be water soluble because they're not. I tried. Okay, so that blender's out. Let's go with now I did this guy. This is Lisa's favorite. And so I already did this on a couple of sections down here, but I'll do another one. And I really hope you can see. Should I come down? I never know if I should come down or not. I'll just do that. Right, so that has been blended with the bright. Done. Next is the regular Caran d'Ache. I don't know if this is somehow, you can only get the bright and the regular Caran d'Ache blender together. You can't ever buy them separately. And I don't know if they're different or not. I can't really tell. But we will just carry on. Let's see. I want to do it somewhere where you can maybe see. So how about up here? So they blend really well with this. And again, in this case, I'm using the blender in the same direction as my pencil strokes. I feel like that's important for blending, is that you're purposely blending in a certain direction, the same way that you would purposely fill in your color with a certain type of stroke. Let's see. This is the Splendor blender, Lyra Splendor blender. This one is about the same as the Caran d'Ache regular blender. And then we have the, where is it? Okay, this is the blender that came with my Marco pencils. Say this. This is as glidey as as silky as the other ones we've had so far, but it's very obviously harder. And I'm not arguing with it. Okay, there's that. Then we're going to use the Koh-i-noor blender, the one that came with the Tri-Tones. This one is harder, it's scratchier, but I feel like for some reason, like this is a great blender for these pencils. I'm not an expert, so I don't know why this is a great blender for these pencils, but it really is. So this is the one that came with the pencils. It is harder and scratchier. You can hear it sometimes. Like, I can hear it. You know, I just really like the way that this blender works for these pencils. Particularly when I'm following the strokes, the direction of the strokes. So then I have the Prismacolor blender, which everybody loves or hates, evidently. Hang on 1 second, I'm going to sharpen it. Forget where I blended. Okay. This one is a little softer and less scratchy than the Koh-i-noor blender, but not by much. And then finally I have my hard crazy boy blender, and that is the Blick Studio blender. And it is, I would say this is, Sugar Sweet calls it the aggressive. So this is the most aggressive blender pencil that I have. So I really hope that it's, you know, that it's coming through on screen how, you know, the changes that happen, how that you're able to bring out the pigments. Just really with any of these blenders, you're just able to bring out the pigments, you know, get rid of the white, make the colors more vibrant, so on and so forth. But again, this wood palette was colored entirely with a single pencil. And that is one reason I love rainbow pencils and the Tri-Tones so much, is that I can do with one pencil what it would ordinarily take, you know, a minimum of 2 pencils to do. And I don't have to worry about the, you know, meticulously planning where the colors are going to vary. It'll just happen, and then I can roll with it. I like that. Like I said, I've said before, these kinds of pencils make me, they're sort of the granulating watercolor of pencils, because, you know, they're going to be pretty, you're giving up a little bit of control, but you're going to wind up getting some really interesting effects and realistic textures. So let's see. Jane, I've never used a marker to activate in Inktense. Great idea. It is awesome to do that. Colorless blender markers are underrated for sure. Yes, they are. View, thanks for showing us this. Sure. Amazing blender. Yeah, it's my fave. Which one is your fave? Oh, you like the full Caran d'Ache blender. Yeah. Mimi, I have you on my TV. That palette looks so real to paint too. Thank you. My quiet corner, Carol. Hi, Carol. I just subscribed. Thank you. Welcome in. Lisa, I didn't like the one that came with them. That is, that's legit. That's fine. I was actually thinking about this. Somebody, was it Jordy? I think Jordy Colors was saying that, like by and large, maybe Europeans like polychromos and harder pencils because they were taught to color really lightly and layer in, and maybe Americans were not necessarily taught to do that. I don't know, but I can definitely say that there is probably a reason why you like the Caran d'Ache blender best. And my brain had done all of that math, and it's gone now. But maybe it's because you like to color light. I can't remember. I like to get the color on. I'm very accustomed to Prismacolors and just getting the color on. So so coloring lightly and having to like be patient and layer things is really difficult for me. So, but we will come to, let's see, let's get this blender back here. Now these, dang it, these bottle corks are just sort of, I think it's like 2 or 3 light layers of one of the Tri-Tones. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I did uppy downy, sidey sidey, and then maybe uppy downy again. I'm not sure. But let's see. Let's just do like a soft, sort of a scumbling blend here. I'm actually not being that soft. I need to back off a little bit. So, I don't know if it comes through or not. So this one I did a soft scumbling blend. This one I haven't blended yet. But I'm going to do that now. One thing that's pretty great about these really soft blenders is that you can, they're not like masking fluid, but they're kind of masking enough that you can lay down some color, and then if I wanted to do watercolor around this, I would be able to wipe up quickly any sloppiness. So okay, what are we doing? Alex says that the Tri-Tones were, uh-oh, I'm frozen. Dang, one sec. Oh my god, why is it always something? Just a minute, folks. My computer screen has like frozen, so I have no idea what is happening right now. So I'm going to monitor it on my phone, even though I can't stand that because there's that lag. So.
Tech support has arrived.
Okay. Well, I mean, this is...
Oh, that's like completely bunked.
Yeah.
I have no earthly idea. Is your cursor even moving? You might need to restart your computer.
Yeah. I'm not gonna worry about it. Okay. It's the camera's working, so, you know.
Okay.
So that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I was on stream, so stream is working fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, I'm gonna move that and do this. So what?
Jinxie, come here, baby girl.
She's okay as long as she doesn't bark.
She'll probably bark at something.
Okay, so Lisa, or anybody. So this is on smooth paper, and this is toothy paper. What should we try to do? We can try to do like stones, grass, or I can pull out small victories. What kind of paper was the Erie book? Ooh. Erie book paper is pretty smooth. Small victories is also kind of smooth. It's a little bit. What else do I have in front of me? I have an Alice in Wonderland. I have Mythographic. What's that paper like? Why is every book suddenly nothing but smooth paper? Alright, that's fine. Okay, so what do we have here? We have some fruit. Oh my god. I feel like these are too teeny to show the variations. Okay. I'll just do this. So that's fine. All right. What do we got? All right. So we've got some leaves. At least I did this way. Okay. Grass and stones and a lot of leaves. Okay. So here's some leaves, and this one is rainforest. So let's say I want to, so I want the veins to really be prominent. Here. Okay. So I'm going to just sort of stroke this in. Okay. try to do it in a way that I wish that this had happened when I was zoomed in. Okay. Okay. So that is one of the colors that's a subtle combination. All right. Now I'm going to go in a opposite stroke. So you have some color variation, but it's really, really subtle. So sorry about my camera. Let's try it again. Let's do it just with the shape of the leaf. Okay. Does it show at all? Oh my god. Hey, Lucy. Trying to show some really important stuff, and I just don't have the right equipment. I wonder, hang on. Oh. Let's just... Okay. Yeah. See if we can make it work like this. Okay. And let's go with a different green combination. Well, let's finish these. Bam. Okay. So we did kind of a fill here. We did strokes here. Let's do just coloring. And yeah. So I personally really like the super high contrast sort of like strokes where you can see almost a different color with each stroke. But this really subtle blend, you can still get it when you scumble. I'm wearing my earbud and I'm hearing myself say things after I've said them. I don't like that. Okay, so there's that. Then here's a different green. We'll use it on these leaves. Just follow this. And then, so those went diagonally that way, so I'm going to go uppy downy this way. Okay, following the illustration lines, and then uppy downy. What do they say? Uppy downy is vertical strokes. Okay, I'm going to follow the illustration lines, and then I'm going uppy downy. Let's see, there a lot of yellow came out. I like that. Can finish doing these. Uppy downy and uppy downy. Okay. Lucy, this is just small victories. Okay, so subtle but effective, I think, and you would agree with me if I had not been such a cheapskate and purchased the $30 webcam. Okay, let's see. Let's look at this bird. Birds have feathers. Okay, this is tiger. It's, I would call it a low contrast blend. It's a dark brown, an orange, and sort of an ochre color. So it's not a subtle blend, but it's not like a wow in your face thing either. So let's see if we can do this bird. Let's see. Let's go with strokes on the bird's breast. I'm kind of just doing it the same shape as the element. Okay. And let's do these little bits, these little face feathers, just in a scumbling fill. Okay. And these can also be that sort of scumbling fill. Okay. And then we'll just do some more strokes on these like tail feathers or wing feathers. Stroke, 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 stroke. Super simple. Get some variation. Okay. And then what you can do is, ouch, you can come back in with, let's see, I don't know, some other pencil, a single colored pencil. This one's a light fast chestnut, and just kind of make some shadows. Okay. And then instead of reaching directly for your full-on bright blender, take pretty much any other blender that isn't as soft. Okay, I don't know what you have, so I'm gonna go with the blender that came with it, but I guess if you have a Prismacolor blender, that would work. Take this, and you can pull your shadows down. Okay. Put some more in these little guys here. Okay. Pull your shadows down with your not full blender, like so. So I'm gonna do it again and see if I can't make it a little bit more visible. And then you can take your bright blender and cover over the whole thing. Because the thing about the bright blender is awesome, but it's really, really gentle, and it doesn't necessarily diffuse. Is diffuse the word I want to use? It doesn't necessarily help like create a gradient so much as it will just smooth your strokes. So I'm coming in from the bottom where I didn't make a shadow, and then I'm using the bright blender to go up into the shadow area. What do we got? Welcome back, Atlanta. I like your color pencil lesson, AC. Thank you. I didn't mean for it to be a lesson. I just wanted to like I just love the rainbow pencils so much. These pencils are amazing. Do I have a link for them? I do not. But they're Koh-i-noor Tri-Tone pencils, and I can put a link. But you can find them also on they're on Amazon. So so I love them. Let's see what we can do with okay, what did Lisa say? Grass and stone and leaves. What's this? Oh gosh. I really mixed up or missed a lot of stuff. Okay. You're gonna add this to your coloring? Okay. I'll try to finish it. Okay. Seeing these results, I may have to add this set to my cart. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's not necessarily supposed to be a lesson because a lot of it is just me screwing around and figuring things out too, but this is what I figured out. Let's see. Guess I can add these strokes to my rabbits first, says Shar. Yeah, definitely. And it doesn't have to be a lesson. Okay. Class, I don't care. Whatever you want to call it. As long as you're getting something out of it that doesn't make you want to pull your hair out, that's great. So let's do this tree, this little tree branch. This is the earth tones one. The one I was just using was what? Tiger. And so this is not a flat like the wooden palette we were looking at. This is a branch. So I'm gonna color it kind of, you know, I don't know, branchily. Branchily may or may not actually be a word. But, you know, like so. And then I can come back and scumble in, scumble in, scumble in, scumble in. Yeah. Yeah. And so now that it's been colored in branchily, now I can be a little bit more tidy just to try and get some of the white space filled in and still retain, you know, some of the mess, some of the nature. Okay. But also it's not flat, it is three-dimensional. So I'm going to take my dark brown again, and I'm just going to come over here and put a little shadow on. of there. Maybe a little one right there. And under his little feet. Okay. And then I'm gonna use my my tough blender, and I'm not blending entirely. I'm just blending like here and there, bits and pieces. And then I want my erasing pencil, and I'm gonna see if I can't pull back some of that color up at the top. Yes, I can. There. Get it where the light's hitting it, or where I've decided that the light is hitting it. Yes, perfecto. And now I can use my Fulbright blender and just sort of smooth that out a little bit, which maybe I wouldn't do because it's a tree and trees aren't necessarily smooth. Okay, so branch. Hey, Jenna. Just popping in to say, hey, my daddy's in the hospital and has to have bypass surgery this week. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I hope I hope he comes through okay. Branching branchily. That's what we do here. Jana, tell me the name of the manicure glue that you were talking about last time. Every kind of glue that I have for artificial nails is garbage. And I know you mentioned the name of one, and I don't remember what it was. Okay, so let's look at, I don't even know what time it is. Okay, let's look at one of these. Well, I want to look at one of these waxier pencils, but I have to remember that I'm doing okay. So here's a pretty red one. It's called Poppy. Let's color a flower with it. Basically, let's do this. Oh my God, there are so many things in the way. Okay, so essentially, you can color in strokes, right? This is one of the subtle blend ones. Okay, color in strokes, really, you know, with the pencil, you know, aimed sort of vertically downward. Curve Life semi-glue and remover set. Okay. Hey Vera. What? Bart Box? BT Art Box? BT Art Box is really good. Okay. Or you can lay it flat and do this. So you have sort of a, you know, a light sunsetty sort of a situation. Okay. Which is what I did here with these different pencils. And these ones here are the Koh-i-noors, the Tri-Tones. You can, let me get one of these more crazy ones here. Okay, let's do, what's this one? Volcano. Okay, so that's with a more subtle blend of colors. Not super subtle, but subtle, you know. But you could do it here like this too. And this is a sharp pencil. And they do work really, they look cool when they're blunt as well. So this is when you lay it flat. Because when they're blunt, you have more access to all of the colors. Okay. So then you can also, you can color the shape of a thing. So let's say that you have, what, I don't know. You have a leaf. Okay. Which I know we just did a bunch of leaves, but this one's maybe a little bigger. So, yeah. All right. So I tend to color in a, single stroke sort of a fashion most of the time. So I apologize. So that's me filling in the shape of the leaf. And let's do another one. But if you are the type to color like I don't know, like this, where you're out really far, and so you wind up doing sort of circles, you know, that's where the learning curve comes in, with these pencils more than anything, is if you have a way that you tend to default to, for getting the color on the page, you have to remember that you're not going to get a flat application of color. You're going to get whatever comes out of the pencil. So, so with just a green pencil, it doesn't matter if you use strokes or if you do scumbling or if you do cross hatching, it's going to come out and it's going to be green. It's going to be the color of this pencil. And so if the strokes, if the pencil strokes are going to affect the appearance of the element that you're coloring, then you have to be aware of your pencil strokes. You don't necessarily want your leaf, to show the circles. That's the little circles is a really good way to color when you're trying to get an even flat distribution of color, but it's not necessarily the best way to do it, if you're going for reinforcing the shape of something, as being that thing. So, I mean, that doesn't look bad. This scumbled leaf here that I did with little circles, but it doesn't necessarily look like a leaf. Leaves aren't necessarily flat. I mean, maybe some are. I don't know. I don't know botany, but I don't know. It just depends on what you're trying to do. So one of the big places where it's hard to get used to these pencils, even the subtle blend ones, is in having to change up the way you're putting the pencil on the paper. Let's see. Atlanta, so I have a rat coloring book, Vera, and I say I use my Happy Color rainbow pencils on it. Cool. And AC inspired me to the tutorials that Tanya has been asking me to do for months, if not years. I will unabashedly do coloring tutorials. Sweet. Okay. Leaves have ridges. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Some of them are waxy, like camellia leaves, some are paper. So Ilex is the one who knows about botanicals then. Um, so yeah, so you have, you have waxier leaves, and you may not even color those with a pencil. You may decide to use your, your acrylic markers for those. But yeah, anyhow, so that's leaves. Grass. I can think of a couple of ways to do grass. So you have maybe an aerial scene where you're looking down. I don't know how often those come up, or like where you're far away. And so, so let's say you have like, I don't know, a house and some trees. Right? And like a garage. I don't know. Right? I feel like I'm drawing The Simpsons right now. Like the curb and the street and stuff. And so maybe you have grass that's like kind of like that. And I need to do this now. Okay, that's your house. Okay, so then maybe you have to what? You have to no, this is where you would come in and you would do this thing. But this is just to start with, okay? So this is where you come in and you can do the flat, lay the pencil horizontally, basically, and get as much color on as you can in that way. And maybe you cross hatch it to so there you go. That's nice and simple. And, and if that looks the way you want it to look, then guess what? It's all done. But if you want little bits, then you can just take your pencil. Thing is, you could, when it's like this, you're not really going to see the variation that much. So just go ahead and get your regular, your regular green pencil and make your little grass bits and whatever. But, let's say you've got a bush over here, right? A hedge, whatever. So then, come back and get your thingy, your pencil, and, do some circles in it. And then color it in. I should get a different thingy so that you can see. Yeah. Scumble it in like so. Get your trees colored. There are probably way more realistic realism ways to do this, but I don't know. I'm not a realistic realism kind of colorist. I'm a realist-ish realism. Realism. So, and then if you want to, then, take a blender of some kind. Let's see what happens when let's just do our oh, I should have cleaned it, but anyway, here's our Tombow blender. Getting rid of some white stuff. Here we go. Here we go. Blowing it out. Making it bigger, making it softer. Okay. So, I mean, obviously you don't have to draw your own pictures, but I'm just not as prepared as I thought I was. Anyhow, Um, so, yeah. Now let's look back here. Alex, I studied horticulture in college and had a home-based landscaping business when I was married. In fact, I took a plant ID class with my ex-husband. Oh, rad. I was a biology major in college and wanted to be a botanist. But I dropped out when my mom got sick and never went back. It was good of you to do that, Alex. Okay. Realish how you roll. Okay, yes. Yes, Lisa. Okay, so, oh my gosh, was any of that on the screen? So, now, if you're doing close-up grasses, then it's quite simple. You can make it as sharp, make it sharp if you want to, or leave it blunt. It's up to you. But basically, you're just talking about this. Flick, flick, flick. Flick, flick, flick. Flickety, flickety, flick, flick, flick. Right? Let's say you have you got a stem in there, or a different kind of, like a long grass, or some, I don't know, daylilies or something, right? And you can put in some variable, see, this is not a sharp one, this is pretty blunt, but you're still gonna get good variation. And then if you want to sharpen it, and come in with a sharp pencil and do that. Grass, 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 grass. Here's the waxy one. I haven't really been using the waxy ones because Lisa doesn't have the waxy ones, but what the heck. So here's the greeny green one in the waxy ones, which, so you can mix it up. What else did you say? Stone. I got... Yes, all on screen. You're engrossed. Good. Atlanta, my daughter pushes me to do photorealism, so I try. I'm a surrealist and a fantastic realist. Hey, Jess. A wild Jess appeared. Carrie, hello. Auntie Chris and Chad, I'm driving to a meeting, but glad I could pop in and watch. I'm glad that you could, too. I hope your meeting isn't boring. Alex, that is nice grass, isn't it? It's a nice grass. Nice grass. Okay, a stone. Technically, stones can be many different colors, but let's do a couple of different things. Okay, let's start with this metal. I don't think this actually has much in the way of black. It seems black, but it's very cool. So, oh, you know what? Here's a driveway. Let's do the driveway and the road. So we do flat. By flat, I mean horizontal. Okay. So there's our road. And I don't know, you could come in and do this to just give it some more concrete, whatever. Maybe I just wanted to do a road. I don't know. What the heck, why not, right? Road. Okay, so you have a stone. How about a boulder? I like that boulder. That is a nice boulder. So it's got like a flat bit and there. Okay, so it's kind of flat there. Okay. Dang it. Boulder. Hey, Hannah. Okay. So again, I think with a sort of a bigger stone like this, we'll do the horizontal application, right? And then, oh, I don't know. Let's find something that isn't that color. Let's go with, let's take this one. Right, this one looks like that. Okay. Okay, so let's you can just color it in. There's this is probably gonna also depend on what do you want your boulder to be shaped like. I mean, is it round and smooth, or does it have light coming from somewhere? What's around it? Blah blah blah. But so I took the sort of I based this with the metal, the black and white and gray one, just to tone it down so that I could put this other color on top. And I don't really like how the single stroke is looking, so I'm doing this sort of I don't know, what are they, like ovals, but skinny ovals. Okay. And that's flat. So this one's flat, so I'm gonna just get it actually colored in all the way. Okay. Bring in some strokes for the shadows, or the non-highlighted bits, I guess. Yeah. And maybe this again, just to darken it up. So 2 pencils. Oh, whoops. Okay. That's not a great boulder, but it's a boulder, you know. If you have a smooth stone, let's say that one of these circles is your smooth stone. I don't know, how do you want to do it? You can go out from the inside. Oopsie. I am getting shaky. Crap. This circle's too big. I don't know. You'd probably do a better job than that. Let's make a smaller circle and I'll do it again. Okay. Um, okay, let's look at this page. These are the little sketchy sketches that I did. Lisa, you didn't see this because you weren't here at the beginning. Like, can I make this better? So I have like cloud that I colored scumbly, and you know these dots, this one's colored with hatching, so we got short hatches, or long hatches. This one was cross hatching, and you can do the same thing. You can do short, crossed over with short, crossed over with short, crossed over with short, or you can do long, you know, crossed over with long. Okay. You can color in a shape out from the center. No. Or you can color in a shape toward the center from the edge. Okay. Here are some planets, sort of. So yeah, here's some other like different colors, sort of grassiness that I did. Different brush stroke or different pencil strokes and blendings on the little planets. But what else was I gonna do on here? See if I can remind myself. Oh, right. Do something interesting like this. Like if you have the opportunity to make your leaf, you know, put more texture in, like if it's just a blank leaf, you know, then you can make that sort of center vein and the outer ones with one of your green colors, and then take a different green color and just color right over that, you know, because then you've got one of your fancy greens holding this spot, and there's your other green. So I think, oh, you can do this. That was the other thing. If you go side to side, you may get just sort of the same thing happening all the way across, like, and I guess you may not, but where did I? Like here, when I colored this part, it just kind of like kept being red on this side and yellow on this side, and it was really interesting. So, I mean, that's the thing, like you can't plan for that. It'll be like, oh cool, that's great, but you can't ever say I'm gonna color it so that it does that, because you don't know. And if you want your coloring to be that precise, then you're gonna have to, you know, use the individual pencils. This was really cool, I thought. I made little birds. Yeah. So add in line work, you know. Add in some interesting line work, do interesting things with your leaves, with your pencil strokes. I really feel like the most important thing is to be, intentional with the direction of your pencil strokes. So, let's see, where are we at? Okay. I have moved the page up, and, oh, Carol left, but see you later, Carol. Page has been moved up. Sorry about that, y'all. Hey, Alan. Oh, I don't know. What else do we need to see? What other questions do you have, Lisa, or anybody, about using these pencils? Any? Hey, Sarah. Good. So do you feel, Lisa, like there's more that you can do with them than you thought? Like, hopefully I showed you something new that, makes you feel like they're not just an uncontrollable pencil that you can't get results with. They are really great for playing, but they're also, I think, just excellent for getting some good variable color fills and textures without having to pull out a million pencils. Can you control where you apply them, or is the color placement totally random? I mean, you can't, like, this pencil has red and purple and dark navy blue, and you can't say I'm only gonna, I want the dark navy blue to hit this exact space. I don't know, you got this circle, and so you can't be like, well, I want the blue inside this little scribble. No, you can't decide that. You might get it, but it's not going to be perfect. Like, if you want that space to be that color, then you just have to get that color pencil out. But what they are like, so I've got this one here, right, where there's some concentration of a purpley blue situation happening, and I like that, so I want to emphasize that. That's when I can come and get as your standard colored pencil, and really pull that out, you know. Or I don't know, let's say this stem, and then it doesn't necessarily take away from your color. You can cover it up entirely with some pencil or some paint or whatever, but you can also just sort of use it as the place where you find something interesting happening. Exactly, Lisa. It's going to be random, although you can still add depth going over the area more where you want the shadow, right? Or the highlight, for that matter. I have these pencil erasers, and so if I can just sort of pull back on the color that I think is the highlight color, really. And so there's that, Helen, these are Koh-i-noor Tri-Tone pencils. They remind me of the Crayola rainbow pencils from the 90s. they're really, I love them. They're an oil-based pencil. At the risk of irritating Lucy, um, they are a less waxy pencil. And they're really neat. And I did a bunch of tests and some coloring. So, if you can, I would suggest, hitting watching the beginning and looking at the tests. Yeah. So, now the rainbowy pencils, like I said, the cheap ones that I have they're very cheap, and these are a lot more waxy than the Koh-i-Noors, but they're still really cool. And these have more than 3 colors per pencil, some of them, so there's my waxy. I filled it in with the waxy pencil, and I don't know what you can see on the screen, but it's like red here, a little bit of green here, a little bit of sort of a turquoisey color here, and I'm digging the turquoise color, so I'm gonna come and get a regular turquoise pencil, and I'm gonna try to, and I'm gonna lean into it, So, definitely check out the start. Lucy, I know people still call pencils oil-based, wax-based, even if they know it's not really what they are. Okay. Lisa, ooh, what are those ones called, and where do I get my grubby little hands on them? These, pardon me, these are, the name on the pencil is Curd Barkin. I don't know if it matters. Pardon me. I got these on Amazon. There are 12 colors. They're all called Rainbow, but they're numbered Rainbow 1, Rainbow 2, so on and so forth. So there are 12 colors, but you get 24 in the box. And so you get 2 sets of 12. I'm pretty sure they're just rainbow pencils. You can just search Amazon for rainbow pencils, and you will find this exact set under any number of names. So, yeah. So, let me go back to my Erie book. Let's see if I forgot. I did a little bit on this page too. So I was coloring the little dragon guy. So he's done with Tri-Tones in different ways and spaces, and then just some glitter pen. Then we've got the little boat thing, whatever this is called. What the hell is this called? It's not a Zeppelin, is it? Anyway. Yeah, so using cross hatching and then just sidey, and then a little more glitter pen and stuff. And then over here I did just some little trees. So I wanted to just kind of see subtle blends versus the high contrast blends. And then I decided to do the this page here. So again, this palette is supposed to look like a wooden palette, and it was colored in with one pencil. One single pencil colored the palette. So Jeanette, I don't think I could cope with not knowing what color I would get. It's definitely something to get used to. Which is why it's kind of good if you're gonna try it, try it on a thing that is already automatically highly variable in colors. No, I didn't do any. I don't think I did. I don't remember what I was doing when you left, Shar. I have the leaves, the bird, and his little branch. So what was I saying? It was oh, you pick something that's already like, variable in color. Something that's made of wood, something that's made of like a chair, right? Or I don't know, a chair or some leaves, something like that. And just kind of get used to, again, what happens when I color it using small circles versus big strokes. And just kind of get a feel from, what happens when I blend it this way, what happens if I put this down and then put put polychromos on top, or whatever, really, just something, play with it. Because they really are a lot of fun. And I mean, I don't know, I can't say this. I colored this palette with one pencil. Like, this, you don't get this with one pencil. So yeah, pinks for flowers. I mean, let's do some flowers. I don't know what time it is. I just want to make sure I'm not going. Okay, yeah, we've got some time. Yeah, let's do some flowers. So, and again, you have to remember that they're not all high contrast. They're about half, subtle blends. So I'm going to take these three, which are, this one's called Violets. I guess it's meant to represent violets. It's pink and purple and blue. This one is Blush, and it's soft pink and like fuchsia. And then this one is called Sunset, and it's red, pink, and yellow. So let's see. This one's probably the most subtle, the blush one. Okay. So let's color this. And I'm going to do it the way I like. I'm going to do it with my strokes. I feel like strokes give you the highest contrast outlay. But you see with this pencil is not contrasty in the slightest. It's very low contrast. I can see the variation. I don't know if you can, and that would be because I have a terrible camera, but I can see the variation. So that's just pink, and it's a very subtle variation, which, if you were gonna do that, like if you were gonna come in with a second color anyway, this just eliminates that second color. I do apologize that I have to keep spinning my book. awkward angles are physically painful for me. So see, this one here came out with a little bit more contrast. So there's one. And then I'm going to use violets on a different one. Let's use it on these little guys here. And this one I'll just color, because it's tiny, so I'll just color in the little circles. And maybe you can tell, maybe you can't, that right now it's pulling out the blue and the purple more than the pink. But now some pink is being exposed. I love it. That's another idea. I just had a really great idea because I'm so smart. Is that if you're doing like something like this, maybe where you have lots of repeating elements, and you're scared of what color is gonna come out. You know, you can't control it. Just spread them around. Let's see. So let's look at this one here, right? So you've got a bunch of petals here. So just color like one petal there and another petal there and another petal, instead of doing them like in sequence or whatever. Spread them around, and then they all look like they're supposed to look like that. I don't know. So yeah, where did my violets go? Here they are. Okay. These are the same? Let's just say that they are. Okay, and then we'll do one more flower here. Let's do these, what are they? Are these morning glories that hang down like this? I don't know. We're gonna do them with the pink and red and purple, or pink and red and yellow. There. Yeah. You know, I think that looks pretty cool, personally. Let's see. Does Auntie Chris mind if I pop Mel's YouTube link? No, I don't mind at all. Go ahead. Yeah, if one of the mods want to go ahead and do that. Who is this now? Koh-i-noor is a version called Magic that is cheaper. It is. Is it cheaper? It's not cheaper for me. I love those. I like those fat ones. All right. Let's see. I'm going way back up here. The wood grain effect is insane from one pencil. Yeah. I didn't even know it was an image. I thought at first it was a paint palette. Nope. I don't have color or brute printers. Neither do I. Lisa's not going live. Ambient. Just bought neon Crayola mechanical pencils. Ooh. Yes, Lisa, you used the brown one on your seals. Oh no, searching Amazon. Sorry, Jeanette. How do these Koh-i-noor feel compared to Derwent Lightfast, for example? Okay, well, I use them with the Lightfasts. Let me get some of this paper again. This one is Bristol Vellum. Let's see. Okay. Lightfast. I know I pulled a Lightfast. Where'd it go? There it is. Pretty similar. They're a lot skinnier. They may be a little tiny bit. No, never mind. Yeah, they feel pretty similar to the Lightfasts. And they are pretty, they're not like, neither of these are as hard as the polys, but I'd say they're both pretty hard and silky. And then yeah. And then yeah, my Marco pencils feel almost identical. So let's see. But I didn't realize that the Magic were cheaper because they're I don't think they're cheaper for me. Does anyone know Mel Roach? I don't, but you're certainly welcome to share her info. Huh, okay. Jeanette, if you want, I can find a link and pop it up. You know, I can send it to you on you know, I can DM it to you in Discord or something. But now I have a magic pencil, and I would not. I mean, I wouldn't say that. Oops, I wouldn't say that they're not for kids, but I wouldn't say that they're the kids version. I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just a kid. I have one magic pencil. I love it. I mean, I like all kinds of things that have lots of colors built in. So, let me just pull this out of my go bag. Yeah, this is the magic version, and it's very fat compared to its brother. But it feels the same, and it does this, and I love it so much. Yeah. I am streaming till now. It's time to go. Okay, Yep, it's time to get going. I believe Tara is doing a premiere. Um, and yeah, Lucy, Jeanette sent you. So okay, Jeanette has you covered. Oh my God, Jeanette, Lucy has you covered. She sent you the magics. Animals are taken care of. Sweating like hell. Taking a shower. Good call. Um, yeah. So, look for the Koh-i-noor magic. Look for the Koh-i-noor Tri-Tone. Look for any cheap rainbow pencil, and just play with it. Have fun. See if it feels like any of the other pencils that you have, and use them in conjunction with those pencils. Go back to the beginning of this stream and you'll see the different tests where I laid the pencils down on top of different bases. So yeah, it's also a 24 set, Lisa, the magic. So Koh-i-noor ought to pay you commission. No kidding. I love these pencils so much. Anyhow, yeah, it's time to have lunch. So everybody have a great afternoon. Thank you so much for sticking with me. And you know, give me a like on your way out, share it with your friends, and we will see you again on Thursday. Bye.